This is so not planned at all.
Just while we both look
but
crazy.
It's gotta be said. And I don't even know like the first thing. Anyways, I'm Amber. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. I never talk about stuff like this really on my channel. So if you read the title, you saw the thumbnail, you probably were like intrigued or curious or angry or sad. I don't know your emotion. But Courage mentioned something to me the other day about a show that she was watching on Netflix, and I'll get her to speak on that. And then just now we're at the house hanging out, and she brings it up again, and we're talking about it. She's like, you would recognize some of the people in it. So then we're scrolling and finding them, and I'm shook, okay? And I want her to speak on this, and then I have to share some of, it's not going to be long, but if you're interested in wanting to know more, maybe I can open up more about it. But about my experience, it honestly feeling like I escaped the cult life and I didn't even know I was a part of it. And it's so traumatic to think about and crazy. But that's 100% why I did the things I did years ago when I was invested in a direct sale business. I cut away and shied away from a lot of people, worked at solo, which I was definitely frowned upon, and blocked and deleted, and don't follow what Amber's doing and things. And then 3 years ago, I decided I wanted to step away from it 100%, and I did. And it was really challenging and difficult, but I lost a lot from cutting myself away from that, just in a financial way, and friends that I thought were friends, and it was just really weird. And so I think the things that Courage is going to talk about is going to really be eye-opening, but it's just a conversation. We're just friends talking about it right now. Yeah. That's it. But that's where my head was at. I don't even know if that made any sense, but I feel like I just kind of like threw up a little bit. But I was like, I'm getting my camera out because this needs to be talked about. This is craziness. So tell them what you watched and what happened.
Okay, so I just watched the TikTok cult, Dancing for the Devil, Dancing for the Devil. And I watch cult stuff all the time. I am intrigued by it. I just always am like, what intrigues me is like, these are normal people that are like functioning in society typically, and maybe they are like looking for a way to belong or something, and then they kind of get sucked in and completely cut off from their families. And people who started out as like completely normal as far as the documentary goes, they just go so left, right? Yeah. I know y'all probably know about like the Jim Jones. That was probably my first like peek into like cults and cult life. Jonestown, where people say things like don't drink the Kool-Aid. Well, that is like before my time, but I watched that, and from there on I was like, what? How does this happen, right? So there's going to be a cult documentary. If it's not going to be too much, then I'm probably going to watch it. If it's going to be just crazy, like just too extreme with children, I cannot stomach those.
Scary.
Right? I don't watch a lot of those, but when it's like adults in cults and they're just like this TikTok cult, which I do not understand.
Yeah, which I don't even know how it didn't pop up on my top 10, but when I went to it, it was like top 9. But I didn't even see it scrolling the other day. Yeah. So now, obviously, it's there, and I'm going to watch it.
It is insane. It is crazy. And so basically these young adults, they move out to wherever, and they're doing this dance. They're dancing. They already have this huge following. Now, I'm going to say this. There are things that, and I'm not a professional. I'm just like obsessed a little bit with cults. There are things that they all have in common, right? Cult. And so maybe it is not technically a cult, but it's cult adjacent what you went through, right? One of the things, like, one, it's not illegal to have a cult. It's not illegal to be in a cult. I know that you can call the FBI, because I have called the FBI to report an organization for being a cult. And when I called them, they were like, 1, it's not illegal. 2, it's not illegal. But if it is a cult, then 9 times out of 10, there is something illegal happening. And that's how they get exposed. And that's how they get, taken away or taken down or end however they end. That's how, because there's something illegal going on under it. Mm-hmm. So in this documentary, there was a lot of illegal things going on. I'm not saying that there were illegal things going on with, like, how when I met you. I'm not saying that there were illegal things going on, which is, in my opinion, probably what keeps them from being a technical cult. But as far as like cult behavior, 100. It's all the same. I'm gonna say
It's
something.
Everything Courage is like, when she's explaining this show in any documentary that she watches, because I've experienced things that are very similar, I'm like, that is the creepiest thing ever. Yeah. Because I would hear it, but I would ignore it. And I'd be like, well, that's silly. I mean, I'm just selling a product.
Yes.
Like, duh. You know, but it's the mentality that I spoke. No, the mentality that I thought, but the words that I spoke out also kept me in, like, feeling like I was just doing the right thing. You know what I mean? I'm just doing this is just what they say. This is what we say. This is just what we do.
And nobody signs up for a cult. That's another thing too. There is not, people are not going and saying, I'm signing up for a cult, right? Yeah. There is this, people are looking for things. Like, you're looking for something. You're looking to be successful. You're looking for community. There's something that you're searching for. And then you get pulled in. And they pull you in with the community vibe. They don't pull you in. It's not like, hi guys, we're called and we're going to separate you from your friends and family and we're going to do this and we're going to control you. It is not like that. It's like a lulling into, like, hey, sweet friend, right? They get you pulled in. Yeah. And then by the time you're in there, the indoctrination, it's the culture, it's the environment. These tactics, just so you know, like, they also work with dictatorships too. I'm not going to digress. I'm such a nerd when it comes to it, right? It also works with dictatorships, because what it does is you have to keep outside ideas that contradict what the organization or the community is saying. You have to keep those things out. And everything that is right or wrong is decided by the organization. So there are some, like, characteristics that are common across cults, whether they are kid cults or this one or the twin flame cult, or like all of these cults, they have a lot of things in common. One is that they have their own propaganda, right? It is a way of living. It is, and that's why, like, sometimes religion, it's often, like, coupled with religion, or, like, beliefs and values that are attached to a religion, because it makes it less sketch on the front end, right? Yes. Because it's like, these are our values, and we believe in love, and we believe in people, and we believe in, and so there's some of that kind of gets manipulated. Yep. Right?
Yeah, so it does.
Yeah.
Yes, agree.
There's always some type of, like, higher power, some type of religious values or beliefs attached to the cult. No matter whether it's a Christian cult or not or whatever, there's always, like, some type of religious undertone. They create, once you get in, an us versus them mentality. People are either with us, or they're doing this with us, or they are against us, and they want to tear us down. Yep. They want to separate us. They want to keep you down. They isolate you. Now, in traditional cults, like most cults, they are isolating you from your family and the friends that you've known your whole life. With your situation, they are isolating you from people who are not a part of the community, right? Because the people that you need to hang out with, this is what they're doing. You're traveling with them. You're going on vacations with them. We're all going to the same type of conferences together. And you don't have time to hang out with people who aren't a part of this. And if somebody wants to be your friend, then they kind of need to be a part of this. If somebody leaves the organization, they're out. Now, nothing has changed.
Out. Like, it's so scary that there would be someone in my situation where I'd be like, what happened to so-and-so? They were like, well, you know, she left, or she stopped doing things. And I'm like, oh, well, y'all don't hang out or whatever. It's like, no. I just don't talk to her anymore. All the time. And I would think that would be very strange. But I'm like, well, I mean, I guess if y'all don't really do work with each other anymore, I guess why would you talk to her? But supposedly they were best friends, or you know what I mean? So that's very, like, weird.
And you could be in it for years, right? So
years.
You can be in it for 3 years, 5 years, and so whether I'm successful or not doesn't matter, as long as I'm still in the community and I'm going to these events and I'm speaking the language and all of that. As long as I'm doing that, the way I dress, the way I look, so, like, controlling so many things, not a lot of individual thought, right? So because that kind of damages like what the plan is. I can't have somebody coming in here with this independent thinking, like, oh, you don't have to do this, you don't have to do it that way. We all need to be doing it the same way, right? So when that person stops being a part of the community or the organization, they are gone. And I'm not saying like, oh, they're exiled and you hate them, but they disappeared. These are people that you did life with for 3 years. Y'all vacation, y'all won the same awards, and so you vacation with them. Now I've been with you for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. You don't work with me anymore. We still live in the same neighborhood. We still, you know what I'm saying? So how is it that we just don't do this thing? And I know that happens, and that's the thing. That's what's sneaky with cults, right?
It's very sneaky.
Yeah, because you can think of other situations where that is true, where it's like, well, I had best friends at work, and, you know, I don't work there anymore, so I stopped. The difference is when it is by design, right?
Yep.
It is when the organization designs the community in a way that while you're a part of the community, you are to be with the community and not with other people, right? That is by design. Not affiliating with other organizations, not affiliating with other teams and types of people that are doing other things. We are not even going to be doing any of that, right? So that type of separation. You said something
earlier about it's not always the cult leader, but it's sometimes the community within, like the people
self-policing.
Yeah, that too happens. So maybe the leader didn't say something, but the people did, right?
But it comes from the top, right? There are these rules. There are rules that govern the organization, right? Whatever that means, right? You can do this, or you can't do this, or you shouldn't do this, or this is the way we want to do it. In cult culture, in cult communities, they are self-policing. So if you do something that you shouldn't do, the leader doesn't have to have like a general that's coming around checking to see. I'm a part of the community, and I believe in whatever this belief system is, and I happen to see that you did not do something, I'm reporting you. They're not asking me to report you. They're not telling me to report you, but I've been taught that what you're doing is dangerous to the community, that what you're doing is wrong, and you are going to destroy something. You are doing something that's not fair or that's not right because you're not doing things according to the community.
Yeah, it is the most insane thing ever. So first of all, watch that on Netflix.
It's crazy.
That, truthfully.
Yeah.
I think what made a big difference when I met Olivia and then met you is because that's when I cut myself off from the community type things in the company, but I was still headstrong in what the company does, all the things, right? I just wasn't a part of the people. But then a lot of people stopped talking to me. And then 3 years ago, when I kind of shot away from everything, slowly online people started noticing that. It was like blocked, deleted, really weird messages, questioning everything I'm doing. And
people were saying things like, this is like so cult. People were saying things like, I'm so disappointed in you.
Yeah.
You've not broken any laws. You have not broken any ethical things. You've just made a different choice for you. And this is America. You made a different choice for you and your family and the way that you want to do and run your business. They're not disappointed because you cheated someone or because you behaved in a way that's unethical or out of integrity. They're disappointed because you left the community.
Yep.
You are still in the same industry, by the way.
Yeah, that's what blows my mind.
That is cult mindset right there. I'm so disappointed in you.
It is bizarre. It is really bizarre. So y'all got to watch it.
Yeah, it's good.
Check it out.
Yes.
But I'm thankful that I have escaped the cult life.
And you're different now.
I am different. And I
liked you before, but I would say, do you know I said that about you?
What?
I used to be like, oh, she's such a Stepford wife. Did you know that I used to say that?
Maybe, I don't know.
Because it was like you was like...
Not to my face!
Because the jury was still out on whether or not I was going to be your friend or not. Because I could tell, I was like, I'm like, it's a lot. It's a lot when somebody is pushing... Not just like a messaging, right? But it's like a whole lifestyle. It was a whole lifestyle. I was very sensitive to it because of my own obsession with cults, right? So maybe that's why I was like, something's girl. And I used to be like, she's like a Stepford wife, like the way I'm like, when you see them all out together, you're like, what did I step into?
Yeah.
Y'all are all the same. Y'all are wearing the same outfits. The styles are the same. Y'all have y'all, like, the energy's the same.
Yeah.
No matter what the race, creed, or color, like, that doesn't matter.
Same.
It is the same.
And if your attitude's off, you're just disengaged.
Everybody is so sweet as candy in those places. You're gonna fall into a diabetic coma. And I'm not saying I don't like sweet, but geez.
It's a lot.
Like,
it's a lot of fake. It's a lot of fake. Maddox, because you said dressing the same and looking the same and doing all this stuff, Maddox was going through my phone this morning and just looking at pictures. And he was like, oh, that was an event you were at and y'all all wore the same thing. And I was like, yep, we did. And I was like, and you just saying that.
Yes.
Yeah, you look the same, you act the same, you dress the same, everything is the same.
And there are no new friends. Let me just tell you that. I met a lady somewhere. She was super nice. And it was at a place where you could just tell you, I met her at church. I met a lady at church. That's how I got introduced to her, at church, whatever. And she was super nice and super sweet. And I was friends with you at the time.
Okay,
I was already friends. Yeah, I was friends with you at the time. And she was like, hey, I'd love for us to go out.
Yeah.
I have an event that I'm going to.
Yep.
And
and you went.
I did. I went to this event, and the speaker was phenomenal, and her story is what sold me then, right? But I was like, well, I'm not signing up with this lady because I knew you. I'm going to sign up with you, right? And that's kind of what I basically told her. I'm like, yeah, I'm probably going to do it, but if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it with Amber. There was another lady that had already offered to help me become a part of the company because she saw me going live all the time. Yep. I did not know her. I'd never seen her, but she was a part of your community also. And so I was like, well, you know, she wants to invest in me in this way. I'm going to let her, but I'm going to come in under, you know, I'm going to join the team that she's on with Amber. But I bring that up to say that at that time, that season where I met that lady at church, I had Bible study. I was having Bible study in my home, and I met another girl from church that was in her group. Yep. And then I met another girl that was in her group. And then somebody was like, yeah, that's what she does. She meets you, she meets people, and then she gets them signed up. But we did not become friends. We were friendly at church, friendly enough for her to invite me to an event. It was at a time that I didn't have a car, or I couldn't drive. Maybe we only had the one car. Maybe Mike was working or something. I don't know. She was like, don't worry, I'll pick you up. She picked me up in her company car, and we went. And that was great, and that was sweet. But when I did not sign up with her,
you were done.
That was it.
Done.
And we weren't close enough for me to care. Right?
But it was weird. It's weird.
I was just like,
that's weird.
Huh. Okay. I'm not, I guess.
Yeah.
I guess she decided she's not going to be my friend anymore.
Yeah.
That type of, I'm only making new friends. And that's not what they're saying to themselves. Let me just say
they're
that.
not. They're
not. They are not saying, I'm only making friends. That is the beauty of the cult message. That's kind of why I don't like cults. That is my draw.
Why you're obsessed with
It's why I'm obsessed with them. And when I think about studying something in school, I think about I
want you to speak on this too, because you always speak about how they, I use the word they, but yeah, how they will, I guess, brainwash you in a way that just makes you want to do crazy things like not refinance, but home equity line or something.
Take out a credit line.
Or do something insane that you would never do for thousands and thousands of dollars.
So that you can remain in the community. And that,
it's going to set you up.
Yeah.
Because if you don't do this, oh my God.
Listen, and that's...
If you don't do this, then you don't get this. If you don't do this, then how do you expect that you're going to be able to provide for your kids, you know?
Don't you want this great life?
For your children?
Don't you want this for your future, for your legacy, for your salvation, for your soul? It's always for something, right? For all the organizations, you're doing it for something. They are putting mortgages out on their home. They are signing up for lines of credit. They are signing things over to them. They're selling their home, all kinds of things, right? To pay for things that go into the organization. That money goes back to the organization. And typically the people that benefit the most from it are the people that are at the top in the organization.
100%.
Not the individual. And so one of the things that makes me want to watch cults is because the way that they it's not that I want to manipulate people, but this is just how my brain thinks. I think if you can take a seemingly normal, high-functioning individual and just through your words turn them into a person that would murder their own child. I'm talking about Jonestown. When you hear that reference, don't drink the Kool-Aid, I used to think that he tricked them into drinking the Kool-Aid because I never saw the documentary. That is not how that went down. What went down is that they were getting ready to be exposed. He was being exposed for what he was doing. Some guy flew into their compound, and then this was a directive that he gave. And it was some type of poison. In order to make it so that they could get it down, they mixed it in the Kool-Aid. But the people knew what it was. They lined up a person. I had a family before. I gave birth to these children. And because I've been in this community, my mind has changed so much so I'm not under drugs, right? I'm not, and that is the crazy part of the cult. I don't want to leave. I want to stay. There are some people that get out, but for those that stay to the end, I don't want to leave. I feel like this is my home. That person got up, walked to the front of the line, got 2 beverages, gave a beverage to their child. Another child saw it, how they started to foam at the mouth and die. So then the parent is chasing children, their own children down to poison them and then poisoning themselves. How do you take a person that was, right, and not force them to be prisoners? There are no shackles there. These people, for all intents and purposes,
We said we weren't
go
talking
there.
about kids.
I know, but I'm just saying
So-
because that's where my mind goes, and the reason I say that is because
It's
there's
so
so many
real.
people who are struggling. I want to know, how is it that you can take a good mind and make it do that, right? And so then I think, can we do the same thing with people who are struggling with things like with addiction, or maybe like we talk about like mental health, like, or people who are so broken they're like killing people or raping people or molesting people. Like, is there a way to take this type of magic that these people have, right, and take them from the crazy mind and get them to live out a life that is better without making them a prisoner, without putting them on drugs, without doing that? How are they able to turn this normal into the most vile and disgusting things? Can we not use that strategy to take the most vile and disgusting things and turn them into healthy humans? Where's my snack? Y'all you woke me up during my nap. You did. Courage.
Your feet are disgusting.
And so is his face. Your face, your fingers. Don't get me a snack.
What have y'all been doing?
I'm cool. I'm not hungry, okay?
Mom? Oh, can you go buy me some cake batter so I can make a cake?
You want to make cake?
I hope you wash your hands and your face.
Yeah, we'll have to get some cake batter for sure. For sure. I don't have any right now though.
Sugar Shack. What happened?
We're going to make zucchini bread.
Doesn't sound like cake, does it? But I hear it's sweet, so.
It is sweet. It has
you
sugar.
try it and let me know.
Has sugar in it. It's basically yummy dessert bread.
He's like, I don't
So let me even bring this up real quick, and then I'm gonna make dinner. I'm making dinner. Okay, just a second. You mentioned this, and it had me. Oh, where were you just saying so? Oh my gosh, what was my thought of that?
The people changing from bad to good. That's really wild.
Yeah, it.
Is there a way for us to use that to get people to do good for themselves
things,
and good in their lives,
and when you hear
to feel a sense of community and to be committed to their community? People are abandoning their families and communities all the time, and these people are cutting off their families to be a part of these other communities. Is there a language or something that we can use to, like, using these superpowers for good instead of evil, right? Because I see a lot of brokenness in the world, and so I'm always like, how are you taking these normal people and getting them to do crazy things? Why can we not use the same thing to, like, see broken people come to healing and that? You know what I'm saying?
I totally agree. I agree. I don't know. And I don't know how it happens. And I think a lot of times, sometimes it's just an individual that could be older and it just happens to them solo. But sometimes it is the influence of another family member that brings them in that way.
Yeah.
I just watched an episode of, I watched Matt and Abby, their podcast, that they interviewed one of the Duggar sisters. And you know, that whole thing with them, she wrote a book about it, and just like the church or the conferences that they went to and what this guy spoke about. And she's like in tears crying about it, because she's like, I I still have brothers and sisters that are still living at home, and this is what their environment is, and you know, and it's wild. It doesn't matter if it's a business, if it's just your life, if it's
crazy.
You're not even looking for it and it just happens. But that's what's wild, is that it just happens, because they're not saying, like you said, they're not saying sign up for this cult, because this is what we do.
This cult.
It just happens over time, and it is a brainwash. And it's scary, and I just wanted to put this on my channel. I don't ever talk about things like this really on my channel, unless it's like a little tidbit here and there. But I don't know if anybody's ever interested in knowing more, hearing more of just stories about this, because I think it's very eye-opening. And we talk like this a lot, like in our conversations as friends.
And we were just talking, like...
Yeah, and I was like, this has to be documented. Like, someone has to hear this. And so, I don't know. I don't know what else to say about it. But that's it. And it's wild, and it's scary, and it's creepy. And
it's crazy.
Yeah, it really is. And, and you lose friends, family that you thought were your people, and now they're gone, and it's because you just chose not to be a part of something, and you're just like, that's insane. I'm still the same human. So that's also very weird, you know? Like, you're like, what did I do?
And it's accepted. That's why you can cut people off, because it's accepted in the community. There isn't anyone in the community saying, girl.
By the way, we have piano players. I don't know if y'all realize that.
This is real life, right?
This is just happening.
You know, they're not saying like, oh my gosh.
I need a spray tan. Do you see how
you need to call your mom.
Gosh, I look so pale.
Meanwhile, my melanin.
Yeah, you are popping and I am white as crap right now. And I have really good deep brown skin, but not today.
My melanin is popping.
And I have no bra.
Wow, I'm glad you got your arms crossed.
Yeah, that's why, I'm not pissed. I'm just trying to keep these bad boys in place. Yeah.
No, it's insane what becomes okay that outside of the community would not be okay in like the normal world. So there's no one saying to you, I really think you should call your mom. I really think you should call your sister. What they're saying instead is like, they don't understand you. You're trying to do what's best for you. And if they can't support this insanity, then you shouldn't be with them. And I think right now in this day and age, we have so much like, it's okay to just completely cut people off. It's okay to have like one side of the story. It's okay for you to choose this community because your family is not supporting you. And so people will get on there and be like, oh my gosh, your family's not supporting you. You deserve better than that. You just have to distance yourself from them. Meanwhile, you're in the dang cult.
Yeah, it's insane. I'm watching that documentary. Yeah. I'm watching it because these people that I literally scroll
you live, see them, you know them.
And I'm like, oh my gosh, they're dancing. And I'm like smiling and happy. They are a part of this.
They're in it.
They're in it. Yeah, they're
like
actively
they are victims
in
of the
it.
cult.
Yes. Live, like today, present day.
Yeah.
I'm shook. I'm really
and a lot
shook.
of documentaries that I watch for cults, most of the cults are still a thing. Right? Jonestown, that is probably one that people reference all the time. Well, he went down in a blaze of fire, and people were shot and killed and poisoned and all of that, right? So that's how that one like imploded or collapsed or whatever. But for the most part, Twin Flames, I think I watched that on Netflix. It's some stuff I don't understand.
What was it? A Twitter thing that we watched? Was it Twin Flames? But it was like a
Flames was a dating. It's not. So we watched.
Remember she got on the jet?
No, that's not Twin Flames. Did you watch Twin Flames? You probably refuse to. When I watch stuff that are cults, y'all refuse to.
Yeah, I really don't want to watch it, actually. I really don't. But as soon as she started talking, I was like, nah, I have to watch it. But it was like she went on a jet. And
I know what you're talking about. They were not a cult.
I need $100,000. What was that?
It was the Tinder
swindler. Tinder swindler.
Yeah.
That's not, but it's brainwashing.
Yeah, it's crazy.
But that's how, like, she fell for
on a mass, yes, it's like that on a mass scale. And with him, it's like individuals, not enough to like have
that's right.
He did it over and over right?
again.
But not in like, and then they found out like, oh my gosh, we're all victims of this, and we kind of all fell for the same thing.
Yeah, that was insane.
This is on a whole nother level. And that's why you can't make sense of it. You're like, she's asking me all these questions. I'm like, girl, it's a cult. That's how. Like, that is how they bond.
Yeah, I just wouldn't survive there. And that's what's crazy is because I was in it and I did survive. So every time, Courage, you're like, yeah, but you wouldn't they would kick you out.
Yeah, but this one, the reason is because you're able to stay with the people you're closest to and the one that you're in. So if there was one that forced you to separate from your husband or from your immediate family or from your children, which is what happens with most cults.
I wouldn't make that.
You would not. It's like,
True.
Absolutely not. However, if you and Alan were in the mall together and y'all all signed up to live in a community that was a cult, if Alan and the kids were going to be there, you might get sucked in.
I'd be like, it's a great community, guys.
It's wonderful. I just can't hang out with you guys anymore because, like, you have to have, like, a special code to get into the neighborhood, and I'm not allowed to give the code out, guys. So, but your friends and your family, like, those people are in there, so you would probably be fine. But the ones where you're like,
see, that's where they get you. When you just said that, it wasn't like, well, I can't hang out with you because I'm doing this now. It's like, well, I can't really let you in here, though. There's like a special
code and
invitation type thing.
And so there are certain days where you guys can come.
Yeah, they might call you to invite you, but I don't know when that will happen.
Yeah, and there's so much activities going on in the community. You're not necessarily saying I don't want to talk to them. You're just busy with your new friends.
This is crazy. And I think that having like actual help, like counselor, have somebody to talk to, I think is very important too, because I think it messes with you mentally a lot.
Yeah.
Speaking of, I need to get back in therapy.
And sign up.
Yeah, it was good. Now my battery's about to die. So we're about to cut this off. Subscribe to my channel if you like beauty content. Want to know more about this? Let me know in the comments. Let's tell them to leave an emoji if you watch the whole thing. What emoji? Yeah, the one where they're just doing this with the A.
Yeah.
Yeah, like that one. Yeah, hands on the face, the one eye's kind of showing. Yeah, leave that one. Okay, thank you for watching. Subscribe. I'll leave Courage's handle too, but it's Courage Melina everywhere on social. Amber Lykins everywhere on social. Love you guys. See you, Blush Beauty. This is insane. I'm scared.